Welcome everyone to, hopefully you're working, no you're not. Welcome to the new setup for the Video Confidence Coach Connect. Welcome everyone to a new year, new look, and everything in between. So as you can imagine by that front intro that I worked hard on, we have updated a few things around here. So the Video Confidence Connect previously from August to December of last year was kind of like me running, just kind of putting down tracks. Like if you know Wallace and Gromit, the dog putting down the tracks as you go along, that was essentially me with this live stream and just kind of just putting things together and just hoping for the best. But now I've spent some time investing on the setup, but also the back end. So hopefully everything is working, but also if things don't work, that is also okay, because it is okay, Zoe, for things not to work all the time. That is definitely a me thing. All right, I'm going to put this here just to get this out of my eyes, because my hair is a lot and I've been told it's incredibly unprofessional. So there's that. All right, there we go. I'll center you a bit for me. There we go. And I think we're doing all right. So sound-wise, we are at a good volume. If there is anything wrong technically, feel free to put a comment in the chat, and I will do my best to make sure that I keep on top of those today, making sure that I keep on top of it. And if anything does come up technically that I need to fix, please do let me know. But I think we're looking okay today. Everything is looking okay. I'm still working on the lighting situation. It seems to adapt and change a bit more than I would like, as per my camera. But say, for example, if I were to move to my other set, which is this one, where you're up there and you're in a completely different camera, everything's fine. Everything looks relatively fine. Obviously, you're a little bit out of kilter, like you're not perfectly set up like I had you just a second ago, but that is okay. But so like this is looking better, yet this is looking a bit blown out, despite the fact that I have calibrated my camera, so many times. But I digress. Here we are. Welcome to the new setup for the Video Confidence Connect. So as you can imagine, I look very professional with my streaming equipment, and essentially the best way to put this is I procrastinated a little bit on putting this together, mainly because I wanted to work on client work and get that out the door as best as I could. And then obviously you have no time to work in your business if you're working on your business, if you're constantly working in your business. Welcome to my life. So we are here. We are essentially, if you will indulge me, today we are essentially doing a bunch of ads and a lot of recording. So I'm going to take you on an adventure through what I do to record my ads for my programs and my products that I have this year. So essentially we're going to spend the next hour, and I just realized I still have my air conditioning on. Oops. My apologies for that if that sound was impacting you in any way. I turn it on between shots to give me a chance to cool down a bit, because your girl is British. At least my genetics are, so I don't do well with heat. But hopefully the best way to put it is, and a good rule of thumb for people, is if something doesn't look well or something doesn't look good, but you don't have the 10 to 20 seconds that it takes to fix whatever's going on, then it's all right to just keep things as they are and then edit it in post, fix it in post. Like for example, a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be recording today to this camera, I'm going to be fixing in post. Most of the time, if anything is too blown out, like it's too dark or it's too light, you can't save it. But professionally looking at myself, other than like my skin, which is very pink and white, but I'm pretty much like that anyway, I digress. But I'm able to see now that I've got a little bit of flexibility in regards to, say, taking down that edge just a tad, like as I'm like moving my hand, despite the fact that I fixed you manually. Again, this is not aiming at you, my viewer. This is aiming at the camera because I'm annoyed at it. But like, for example, I do that and then it cuts back. So we're going to have a chat. I reset you, but I digress. So while we get going, I'm gonna do my best not to cover my entire body with things so you don't get too flustered. And we will get started for the day. So my apologies. We'll cut back to the proper thing as we go. Welcome to the weekly Video Confidence Connect, a weekly live stream where we smash your marketing mayhem with killer video strategies. That is my new tagline, and I had to look at it because I still haven't practiced it yet, so bear with me. Welcome everyone to the new look and new feel live stream where you can watch and listen on LinkedIn or on YouTube. Or you can catch this on the hashtag replay. So if you're watching this in the replay, make sure you shout out in the comments. I'll do my best to respond. If you are here live today, hello. Make sure you comment any of your questions, your thoughts, your ideas, or any live stream topics that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. And even if you're watching on the replay, feel free to comment there as well. I do my best to cater to you guys and be able to answer any and all of your questions or thoughts. So that's what we're going to be doing. Not today, of course, but that's what we usually do here at the Video Confidence Connect, a weekly live stream that we do as a chance to do a couple of things, but I'll go through that in a sec. You can find more information about our live streams, our podcast, our events, and our other projects at vcc.training. Yes, .training is the domain, so it's VCC, so the letters V, C, and C, .training. That's the .com bit. There's no .com after that, it's just .training. I've had to explain that a couple of times today. Don't worry. I bought the domain and I'm going to stick with it because I've invested a lot into it. Before we continue, I'd like to do an acknowledgement to country. I would like to acknowledge and pay my respect to the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional custodians of the land on which I conduct my business. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I stand with the traditional custodians of these lands in working towards a more equal future. I stand with the traditional custodians of these lands in working towards a more equal future. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people continue to face discrimination and disadvantage due to our country's colonial past. I stand with them in their fight against injustice. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. And before we get into the meat of today, into the live stream, I'll let you know what we've accomplished over this past week, or in my case, over these past couple of weeks. So as the new year approaches and that little gooch part in the middle, I intended to do a lot of work, and a lot of the people that I communicate with and network with had the same idea that we're just gonna take a couple of days off during Christmas and around about family and other things like that, and then go back into work. Guess what didn't happen? So, unfortunately, I took a couple more days off than I planned. I honestly forgot how stressful family was for a second. It doesn't happen often, but it does. So I took a bit more time off than I planned, and I initially thought I'll just get back into podcasting, back into live streaming immediately. But to be honest, I spent that time that I would have been live streaming, or maybe you caught my live stream last week where we replayed a previous live stream from earlier in August of last year. I took the opportunity to really work on this setup, to really spend my time on my lighting and my sound and really get everything dialed in. Now, of course, as we've already established with the camera, it's not perfect, but the idea is that I have it in a system that I can make it perfect later on. I can keep going. I'm not just constantly like Gromit on the train on the wrong trousers is the short, if you come across it. Wallace and Gromit, obviously claymation characters. Wallace is the man, the inventor, who is not a very good inventor. He can invent things, but it always goes wrong. And then you've got Gromit, the dog, who does not speak, but it always holds up the rear. And through various shenanigans, he's left to fend off the bad guy while also putting down model railway tracks as he's going down, and obviously he's doing it as he's progressing along, so he's kind of doing it as fast as he possibly can onto the floor as the train, with him and Wallace and the bad guy, as well as the blue diamond, which is really the MacGuffin of the whole thing, which you forget about for most of the story. I digress. But as you're going along, that's what it feels like when you're kind of just crashing everything and putting things together, especially putting together a minimum viable product. And if you're unclear what that is, I'll get to that in a sec. But the point is that I took that time that I would have spent live streaming to generate this, to have a system and a process that I can rely on to realistically get here, turn everything on, and just start doing things. Of course, obviously the camera is an example, but mostly everything else is working fine. The music at the start worked great, the video was playing, and you'll be able to see other things that I've created throughout this live stream. So hopefully you look forward to it, and I hope you enjoy it. And you'll also be seeing some new profile pictures coming from me as well, because honestly, on that front, I've been a little bit lazy. I generated some in like 2021 and I haven't updated them since, despite the fact that I recommend my clients to not do that. Remember, do as I say, not as I do. In regards to things coming up where you can meet me, you can meet me, or I am attending the February Geelong Chamber After 5. So I just registered for that yesterday. I think it's going to be at Avalon Airport because the air show, loud noises and show of military might. Whoa. I digress. I'm there for the networking, but I'm sure we can enjoy the wondrous world of Avalon Airport. And I'm also have joined, as of late last year, I joined the One Roof Women's Network. So if you are part of One Roof, make sure to reach out to me. I am slowly updating my profile, and I will be attending as many events as I possibly can, because I want to get my most out of my membership, but also have a chance to network with like-minded women. So if you're there, I'll see you there. My focus for this quarter will be promoting and heavily branding my Glow and Grow branding sessions. So these are my one-off pick my brain ad hoc sessions, where it gives you a chance to have an hour with me and we break down and actually come up with a plan on how you're going to improve your marketing. And this can be focusing on live streaming, focusing on podcasts, or just, hey, I don't know what's wrong with my marketing. What do I need to do? Help me. We could spend an hour doing that and you run away with a really clear action plan. And that's what I always promise with my clients. And the last thing that I want to let know, as the new year, new me, new things, we are updating. So previously the Geelong Podcasters, which is a group that I run for Geelong Podcasters, is now becoming, I'm going to have to be quiet because I don't want to ruin the sound. No. It is now going to be VIC Podcasters. So VIC, short for Victoria, as in the state of Victoria. I had so many people reach out to me regarding the Geelong Podcasters saying, hey, I'm in, I'm out in Echuca. I'm out in Warrnambool. I'm out in here. Can I join the Geelong Podcasters? And it was getting to the point where, I thank you so much for everyone who's reached out to me, that it just made sense to expand the project and expand the group to Victoria-wide. Because the reason I initially started with Geelong Podcasters was because I could be there in person, because I'm based in Geelong on Wadawurrung country. But that's not necessarily where everyone else is. And in these moments, I have now moved away from in-person events. It's not that Geelong doesn't like in-person events. It's a lot of work to maintain that type of in-person rhetoric when I can do the same thing and reach and help and serve more people virtually. So we are now moving to VIC Podcasters. You'll see that update in our groups and our email newsletters, in all of the branding. Of course, as I recommend when you're updating or changing any names in the work that you do, when you are rebranding something, making sure that either the domain or the place where you used to send people, like a landing page or something, for at least the next 6 months during that changeover, make sure you actually tell. So say, for example, if you go to vcc.training/Geelong Podcasters, you will currently, as of this moment, come to the screen that says, like, welcome to Geelong Podcasters. Here is all the stuff that we can provide you, where I'm going to be updating that and changing that to, when people go to that page, it's going to say, hey, we are now VIC Podcasters. Click this link to find out all about us. That type of thing. And making sure that you make that bridge and that gap easy enough for you, but also for SEO, making sure that the robots know what's going on. Because making these drastic changes, yes, I feel like it's, to be honest, I've been running the Geelong Podcasters. We started off in 2019, 2020, and then it kind of died. And then I reinvigorated it in 2024. And then it just made a lot more sense. And in that time, the Geelong Podcasters was still going. It just wasn't as fever pitch as it definitely could be. So now we're moving to VIC Podcasters. So you'll be seeing those branding and those updates and everything once I do it. I digress. But today we are going to be focusing on, as the title suggests, Recording ads, mastering the art of the quick sell. So essentially what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be taking you on a journey of batch recording, so which is where we record a lot of smaller things all at once. We are going to record a bunch of ads, which I know, woo, Zoe, this seems like such a useful part of my time. I'm going to tell you now, it's going to be useful for you. So I'm going to be breaking down the ad framework that I use. And then we are going to test out, and you're going to see me in real time record ads, both audio only and visual, and do my best to kind of bridge everything to make sure that I can use these in all of my different projects and all of my different marketing channels. And as soon as you check out my new ad screen, I'll tell you all about it. Cherry says, I'm not a camera person. I like voiceovers, and that's all right. And that's okay too. You've still got your energy, and your voice is still a personality of you. And when people are calling you, are messaging you, are reaching out to you to work with you, they're going to hear your voice. So a voiceover is usually okay for most instances, especially, for example, like Cherry, who works in graphic design, where most of her services of graphic design, which is the output, usually speaks for itself most of the time. Yes, so hope you enjoyed that little ad screen. So I'll be updating that throughout my live streams and future information. So the idea is that you have a screen with something playing in the other side, and then the other side is just an ad. And then it's just promoting whatever focus I want to promote on my project. Have you seen my new podcast cover? I hope you have. I really enjoyed putting it together. So hopefully you like that too. There's been a lot of behind the scenes that's been happening over this new year. But I digress. So let's focus, Zoe. So essentially what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be recording a bunch of ads back to back, and I'm going to be going through my reasons why I'm doing this, but also giving you a breakdown on how I go about recording things, especially things that I haven't entirely planned for. So say, for example, I spent a bit of time before this live stream today breaking down what are the things that I want to record, and reminding myself that this doesn't have to be perfect, because the work that I'm going to do, because it might be slightly different for someone like you who may not be in control of the edit at the end of the day. And what I mean by that is that you might record a bunch of videos or ads back to back, but then you hand it over to a video editor, your assistant or a videographer, or maybe you try and edit it yourself. And I highly recommend anyone, especially anyone in marketing or anyone in a small business, to just try video editing. Now, and I'm aware that when I say that, oh, Zoe, you're asking a lot of us. I know it can seem daunting, and especially when you see professionals out there with these humongous setups. And to be honest, it can be overwhelming for someone who may not know. But I'm going to tell you now that your mobile phone can do it. Your really basic free applications on your desktop can do it. There are tutorials out there that can break everything down for you step by step. And I could say the same thing about the work that you do. I could go see the back end of, say, your CRMs or your processes, or maybe if you work on any like physical products, the process and the everything that you've put together to actually make the physical things happen. I would be overwhelmed by that because that's not my area. That's not my area of expertise. And that's like, oh my God, you can imagine how people would be overwhelmed by that. So for you in your case, I want to remind you that taking one step at a time is a good thing, and to give you that opportunity that, I'm going to just turn that off and on again. Did you work? I don't know if you did. Oops. Interesting. That's not good. Apologies, I'm trying to just fix my captions, because the reason I want captions is I want them to work. But that's all right, we can crack on this anyway. I can continue on this little monologue bit, and then we'll go to another screen where the captions are working, because I want to be able to make sure that my work is accessible. And why aren't you working? Why are you making me look bad? All right, I digress. Let's focus, sorry. So when venturing into something like this, the reason I recommend having at least some experience in video editing, even if it's just really basic video editing, is not just because I am the video confidence coach and video is the forte that I play with, but it's also a case that video is incredibly influential. It's incredibly important. And you can get a lot more people to sit down and watch a video than you can to read a book or to download a PDF. Not everything is going to be consumable by everyone, and to have multiple ways of being able to convert your thoughts and your ideas in a video format. So say, for example, the reason I do a live stream is so that I can take a transcription of what I'm doing. I can break it down into smaller pieces for social media. I can do all of my aspects of editing and marketing and trying to be all these places at once, because I'm here live streaming to you now. I'm putting in that effort to be here right now and take that time each week to spend an hour recording and talking with you. And being able to edit that, yes, I've got some AI tools that help me with that, but the skills I have developed has just been what I needed to do over time. And as someone who is in a small business, is usually the people I aim for, but also if you're marketing or in a team, having video editing skills, even basic video editing skills, is going to make you a lot more valuable, not just as an employee, but just for your own self and your own knowledge of, hey, we can do that. Hey, this is what editing is. Essentially, it's chopping bits of video to suit a purpose. And I want to tell you now, you have the skills to do that, and you can do that. So, managed to get the captions fixed. Well done. So we'll get through what I like to do for my ad frameworks. So essentially today, we've got a nice long list of things that I want to touch on. I want to do some just generic ads for my quarterly focus, which is my glow and grow branding sessions, which of course you'll hear more about in the ads. My elevator pitches, which I worked on yesterday. My Unboring My Brand podcast, which a lot of my live streams get converted into, both an intro and outro. So that's not necessarily an ad, but I'll work you through the process regardless. Join my newsletter, listen to the podcast, follow the podcast on your podcast catcher of choice, follow Video Confidence Coach on LinkedIn, because that's my social media of choice outside of YouTube, which I kind of use as both a repository and just a social media platform itself. When it comes to active social media platforms, I'm trying to work on LinkedIn, just because a lot of my late stage customer avatars are in LinkedIn actively working. And what I mean by late stage, I mean there's plenty of people in a customer journey. There's people who have not heard of you but need you, all the way to people who have heard me and need me. And when it comes to my efforts and my energies, yes, I will be appearing on Facebook. Despite everything. Yes, I will be appearing on Instagram, and yes, I will be appearing on TikTok, despite everything happening. So I will be in those places, but when it comes to my focus and when I'm building my content for a certain platform, that is LinkedIn. I'm going to be building my content for LinkedIn first. Everything is just going to be kind of repackaged after the fact for everywhere else. When it comes to repurposing your content, I am very much in the camp of whatever is easier for you. And for example, in my strategy, it's easier for me to focus on LinkedIn as that primary source to then generate focus. Yes, if you have a marketing team, if you have people who their entire focus in your business is to market, then yes, definitely curating different descriptions, creating different video edits for each post on each different platform. Sure, they've got the time, they've got the energy, they've got the money. But if you are marketing in addition to the work that you're doing in your small business, take out the energy and the effort and just focus on the thing that is going to give you the most return. When it comes to social media, the best return I've had is via LinkedIn. Like I haven't gotten any leads or income generated from any of those other social media platforms. YouTube, hit and miss some of the time, and that's why I kind of put YouTube above my LinkedIn. But when it comes to all the other social media platforms, yes, even though YouTube is technically a social media platform, I digress. I focus on LinkedIn because that is where my people are, who the people who take action or who are ready to take action. And that is why I'm here to focus on creating ads for them. So when it comes to an ad, the first thing that you need to think about before you even start thinking about your message is you need to, hold on. This will help me in editing, and I'm sorry if the clicks get annoying, I sincerely apologize, but this allows me in the final edit to be able to separate things just by looking at the sound waves. The sound waves, whenever you bring a video into, most of the time, whenever you bring a video file into an editing software, it'll show you the video up top in like a line, and then underneath you'll see these waves. And essentially that is the sound, or what is being captured by the sound. And when you look at those waves, you can see when things are very loud and you can see when things are very quiet. You can hear any background noise, or you can have a bit more things to play with when you see. And with editors, especially proficient video editors, they rely on those sound waves, especially if you've got a setup with a host or a producer, someone in front of the camera, who is the producer is not the host. The producer is the person who does all the behind the scenes work, and the host is just the person in front of the camera. Sometimes they are the same person, I digress. But in those instances, especially when you've got a proficient machine of just being able to edit and just get the video content out, being able to use something like this is a dog clicker. So I just went on eBay, I bought like the first 2 dog clickers I found. This is kind of a big one because it's got a whistle on it as well, and I don't really need it, to be honest. There are smaller ones, but I wasn't able to get them at the time. And to be honest, it's actually quite large for my hand. The smaller dog clickers are able to sit more neatly in the palm of your hand, because all it is a piece of, I'm pretty sure it's aluminium, but it could be something else, another metal. And essentially you push it in and then you let it go. So it makes a clicking sound. And of course that clicking sound's quite loud, my apologies, but it allows me in the editing bay to be able to, or if I hand this over to my editor, I'm probably going to handle this myself, to be able to click and to be able to start editing whenever I start clicking this button. And that allows me to see in the final video to be able to just keep things together and then go through and edit much quickly and efficiently, because I'm not worrying about all this stuff from the start of the video when I was introducing the live stream. So this clicker, again, I think it was like $2 to $3, to be perfectly honest. You could get it cheaper, or you could just go into your local pet store and just grab a small one yourself. Or if you are a dog owner, you could probably just use one of those, as long as your dog is nowhere near and doesn't get confused by the clicking sound. So I use this as a way of being able to differentiate between ads that I am recording, especially when I'm batch recording. And I use the opportunity to have the 2 clicks as a way of signaling to myself that the previous chunk was a really good take, or like in the moment, I really like that take. Click to be able to see both in the edit that, hey, this previous one was really good. And in the moment, I know that take was really good. So I'm able to utilize that in both my editing to make it faster and more efficient for me. Because even though video editors do it as a job, and I sometimes do it as a job depending on the gig, doesn't mean you like doing it. So back to the ad framework, Zoe. So essentially, an ad, of course, is an advertisement. It is something that is designed to make you take a call to action. And that call to action could simply just having awareness of the brand, the product, or what the problem is. It could be as simple as awareness. Then you start breaking it down into, it could be a lot more minute into, all right, I want to get people to go to this landing page, or I want people to sign up to this course, or I want people to take a larger step action. And with the ads that I'm going to be working on today, I'm going to be working on more of that awareness scale of what I do. Because the other thing that you need to focus on for ads is your customer. Who exactly are you targeting? Now, don't you dare say, oh, I talk to everyone, because you bloody don't. Come back to me, focus. Because when you are creating adverts, you have a specific audience in mind. If you are talking to anyone and everyone, then you are talking to no one. So being able to drill down into your target market and have a really clear idea of the type of person you're talking to. Because even though in your ad, you may not be talking to like the person that's listening, or the person who's watching you may not be your exact target market, but they definitely know someone who is. Or say, for example, you address the problems in this that are happening, and then the solution. And for example, and I can get that into my elevator pitch now, so I'll jump into that now just for an example for you. So for example, feeling stuck trying to build a personal brand that actually turns heads. Women and non-binary superstars deserve more than just a cookie cutter approach to their worries. So I've addressed the problem. So people who are trying to build a personal brand feeling stuck and not being able to actually get the attention that they need. And then I've addressed who I talk to. So women and non-binary superstars. These are the people that I talk to, and this is the people that I work with. Now, of course, I'm going to tell you now that there's plenty of people who know someone like this. They have a sibling, they have a parent, they have a friend, they have a colleague, someone who fits that niche of, for example, I work with people who are willing to take action, and that's why I call them superstars, because these are people who are already doing incredibly well. They just need focus, they need guidance, or they just need a framework. Because to be honest, most of the time that's what people need. They just need a framework. They know I have all these ideas, but I need to put them in an itty-bitty space. So to do that, you need to be able to have some framework in action. And of course, following on from my elevator pitch, the Video Confidence Coach untangles your marketing mayhem. So again, how I actually help them. Helping you own the camera, craft killer video strategies, and connect with your audience like never before. You'll leave with the tools to stand up, show up, stand out, and smash your goals. Now, of course, that was my elevator pitch, which I only just crafted yesterday, so apologies, it's going to be a bit stoppy-starty because I haven't fully got it yet. But the reason that I mention that is because I've been addressing both the problem and the solution in relatively 1 to 2 sentences. I workshopped that with my business coach and a couple of other business mentors. I had a crack at being able to simplify that because I had a very big problem for a very long time, despite the fact that I worked with clients to achieve this, is that I didn't entirely know how to best promote myself. But the things that you need to break down is who you're actually talking to, like really detailed. Who are the people? And if you're unsure of who exactly you're talking to, you can do 2 things. You can think about, okay, what is my highest paid product and who is the type of person that will buy them? And actively think about not just the demographics, for example, like a woman between the ages of 45 to 55. No, I'm talking about like, where do they live? How much money do they make? What education level are they at? What are they more likely to do in their free time? Where are they more likely to be? Where are they more likely to find you? Are they more likely to find you on a radio station because they listen to the radio every day as they're coming to and from work? Are you more likely to find them on television? Some people still watch television, but like if you run ads through those streaming sites, are you more likely to be seen by your target demographic then? That helps you in multiple ways, not just, oh, this is where my money's going to go for now. It helps you in so many ways. And the second thing that you can do if you're unsure about who your target market is actively think about the people that you've worked with recently. Like the past 3 people that you've worked with, what are they like? What type of person are they? What type of personality do they have? When you were working with them or when you were trying to get them to work with you, what type of person were they? Were they the decision maker, someone who actually was the one who decided to work with you? Or were they the gatekeeper? Were they the one that stood between you and the person who was making the decision? Are they the beneficiaries? Are they the people that benefit from the work that you do, but they don't ultimately make the decision? You need to figure out who these people are, and that's where you need to spend a lot more of your time. And of course, yes, this takes time and effort, but it's time and effort well spent, because there's no point in getting a machine gun to shoot everywhere other than the target that you're aiming for than just a simple sniper rifle that can just go boom, done. That was a little more violent that was a little bit more of a violent example that I probably should have used. Whoops. But breaking down the ad, now I know exactly who I'm talking to. And if you are concerned about pushing anyone out, do not be. Because like I said, the people who are listening or watching these ads are not necessarily going to be the same people who are my target demographic, but they're going to know people who are. They're going to hear the problems of their friends and their family and go, hey, this Zoe person seems to know what they're doing. Oh, Zoe, confidence, Zoe, Google, there she is. I'll send this to my sister. I'll send this to my friend. I'll send this to my mother. I'll send this to, my colleague. Again, that's how it works. You need to stick in people's brains, and to stick in people's brains, you need to have a focus, and that focus needs to be like the customer needs to have that in mind. So now we know who it is. We now kind of what we want people to do. So what action do you want people to take? And of course, in my instance, I'm asking people to just be aware that I exist. So to have me be aware that I exist is just generally making sure that I repeat my name. So the Video Confidence Coach, so that they can search and Google me later, that they know who I work for, and ultimately what problem I solve. So those are the 3 things that I need from my awareness campaigns. And of course, as I mentioned in my list of ads that I needed to do today, and I'm probably going to continue to record these outside of the live stream today, so my apologies, you won't see all of them, because I'm sure you'll get annoyed at some point. And as I record these, I just realized how loud that was. In these moments like this, I want you to, there we go, I'm just going to take that down. So my apologies if that was a bit too loud for anyone. I had worked on this, but I'm a bit too loud. In moments like this, to be able to, all right, I'm going to take you down even further because I'm not trusting myself there. In moments like this, to be able to break down and take down a much more advanced idea and breaking it down into a really simple, what is the next step that you want people to take? So we know who, we know ultimately what we want them to do. So do we want them to be aware of what we're doing? Do we want them to take an action? What exactly do we want them to do? And now we have to prove. We have to prove what we want them to do. And with that next action that we want them to do, I highly recommend thinking about it in really simple terms. Thinking about what is the next click that we want them to take? What is the next action we want them to take? Do we want them to, for example, follow our podcast? So for something like that, we're going to ask people to search for the name of our podcast in their podcast catcher of choice. And to do that, you need to make sure that you mention the name. And if you, depending on the situation with either if you are, say, a guest on a podcast, then you can probably add in the show notes, hey, this is where you can find my podcast, or this is the name of the podcast to look up. And in the events that is not possible, then making sure that you're very clear and very articulate what is the name of your podcast so people can find you. For example, my podcast is the Unboring Your Brand podcast. That again, the Unboring Your Brand podcast. Notice how I went a lot slower just to make sure that was really clear. And of course, when it comes to the speed of my voice, I definitely take it down, especially for those parts that people need to remember. And that's what works. So now, again, we've covered our 3 things. We know who we're doing it for, we know what they're wanting to do, and now we need to prove it. And the way that we prove it is essentially with a value proposition. What I mean by that is, what value can we give people? Because again, we are doing it for them. We are not doing it for us. We may be the solution, but we are not the value. The value is what we give people, either by the services or the products that we give, the freedom that we provide them, the time that they have to then spend with their families. Whatever value we are giving them usually is intangible. So to make that real, we need to be able to provide some proof or some evidence of that. So you can do that by, for example, highlighting that you are unique and different with whatever is the thing that kind of puts you forward. So say, for example, I've got here in my notes that I've got 15 years experience in small business, and that can be something that stands out. Usually I don't really recommend mentioning how long you've been in business for, because that kind of, it used to work very well in like the 1900s. I say that as I was born in the 1990s. It worked very well in the 1900s because legacy was very useful. Legacy is not so important now. It's more what you do with that value. So what you can do is highlighting what makes you unique and different is I make marketing planning fun, simple, and easy. Now, of course, that's fairly generic, but you can see what I do. You can see that I'm breaking down something that is this big problem and usually an issue for a lot of my clients is marketing is a second thought for them because it's bloody painful. Well, what I do is I provide you frameworks, I provide you guides, I help you step by step because I am not just going to be one of those social media gurus who rocks up, gives you a PDF and then pisses off. See, that is a value proposition. Now, of course, I'm addressing the negatives, but you can see that you can get my personality, you can get the idea of what I bring to people, and I'm not just kind of sitting there just being like, I make marketing fun and stress-free, and you can trust me with your $1 million business. Yeah. So coming back to that ad framework. So again, we've already established who we're doing it for. We've established what we want them to do, and we've established the proof. So those are the 3 things that you need. Now it's time to actually put it into a framework. So the way that you break this down for a 30-second ad, usually, again, no matter where you're going, you need an opening hook. So this is like about 5 seconds, usually a sentence long. Then we go straight into value proposition. So you've opened up what you're doing, you've gone straight into the value proposition, and then you go into your call to action. What are you asking people to do? And then going into the closing tagline, which again is to remind people where to search, where to find you, and what name they need to remember. So here is a brief example that I've just written out here and you can follow along. So, are you ready to make your message unforgettable? G'day, I'm Zoe, the video confidence coach. I help women and non-binary superstars boost their personal branding through video, podcasting, and live streaming. With 15 years experience, I make marketing simple, fun, and stress-free. Want to get started? Head to videoconfidencecoach.com.au. That is not my email. And let's connect the dots to illuminate your personal brand. Now, I used a little bit of ChatGPT just to get this basic there, just so I honestly thought of this like 5 seconds before going live. But the reason that I'm mentioning this is because you're reminding people where to go. So for example, with other marketing brands, you know where to go to find out more information. You know to go to search sites to find out more information about these people. You know to ask your friends and family because now you have the name in mind. That's what a lot of these ads are for, and that's what the awareness is for. So say, for example, in a lot of podcasts that I'm listening to at the moment, especially my business ones, HubSpot is all over the place. And essentially what HubSpot is it's one of those all-in-one tools. It can be a CRM, a client relationship management tool. It can also be a scheduler. It can do a lot of things, and that is why it grows as a company, because it constantly bolts things onto the top. And I've used HubSpot in the past, and I'm not as a marketer. Yes, it's pretty decent, and they do put out a lot of podcasts and a lot of PDFs, a lot of guides, a lot of useful material. That is how they get people on board. But for me, the price is not worth what they're honestly offering. And of course, as you can imagine, with any company, they want to grow, especially ones with investors. They want to make sure that they keep growing. So to keep growing, they need to make sure that they are in your ears, they are in front of you, and they are actively getting people funneling in to the system. And if you use HubSpot, please do let me know. Did you find it better? So say, for example, I used it, I want to say 2018, 2019, and I wasn't entirely impressed with what A, I was paying for it, and B, just what was coming out at the other end. So if it did work for you, please let me know. And I'd love to actually, know more about it from someone who actually is still using the product or maybe has recently joined up. So I digress. The reason I mentioned HubSpot is because the way that they go about their ads is they use this framework. They use an opening hook, which is usually one line. Then they go straight into value proposition. So the problem, providing the solution, and then the call to action, which is usually a HubSpot thing. And sometimes with the ads, usually they come straight out and say, HubSpot's blah, blah, blah is the answer to all your problems. Going straight into value proposition, call to action, closing tagline. But in some ads, you don't know it's a HubSpot ad until they reach the call to action. And that is not negative, that's not unethical, that is just providing the solution and the value before trying to say, hey, come to the website, or check out the link in the show notes, or check out the link in the description. Before we're asking people to do things, we want people to be engaged before they start doing that. So with these ads, and we are doing pretty well for time. So with these ads, I've got a nice long list of opportunities that I will be going through today. What I am going to do is I'm going to take a break and I'm going to send you to an ad break, which essentially is some of my content. And I'm going to take this time to check any comments that we have, and I'm going to put on the air conditioning because I think you can feel it on my face. Let's do this. When I work with clients, my goal is to get them to their desired outcome. Yes, if I need to be a little bit harsh and a little bit mean, which is probably me just messaging them and just being like, hi, you said we were going to do this. Let's do this. Like, that's my mean face. But when it comes to helping people achieve what they need to achieve, that's what I'm here for. That's what you've hired me for, to get to where you need to go, to use the expertise, and hopefully to use the knowledge that you have as an expert in your field. Because ultimately, if you are running a small business, if you are working with clients and helping them achieve what they want to achieve, you are an expert. You don't need a degree for that. You don't need some fancy piece of paper. If you are helping people and you're doing it right, you're an expert. If you're constantly growing and evolving your education on your particular subject, you're an expert. If you're growing your knowledge and can admit, more importantly, you can admit when you're wrong about something, you're an expert. You're a thought leader in your space. Welcome back, everyone. So now we're going to get to the ads part of today, and the captions will run along as they do. So we've got about less than 10 minutes left of today's session, and I will take this opportunity to do what we need to do. So I'll run you through a couple of ads using that formula for you for today. So of course, I'm going to be continuing with a couple more after the stream ends, and I'll... That's smart of me. And I will use this opportunity while I have my makeup on. The reason that I'm recording a bunch of these all in one go and also on the live stream is because I spend an hour per week doing these marketing activities, and I put on my makeup, I think about what I'm going to do, like I prepare everything for this hour. And for example, like today, I've done a lot more yapping. Mind you, most of my live streams are yapping, but I've taken most of this opportunity to just talk about ads and the work that they can do for you, as opposed to talking about more or less what I am actually doing my ads. So I'm going to get my hair somewhat reasonable or not. There's also that. And I'll take these opportunities to run you through a couple of things. So, of course, as I mentioned, my quarterly focus is going to be the Glow and Grow branding sessions. And what I'm going to use is that ad framework to break it down. So usually when it comes to ads, most of the time you have done a little bit more prep than me, and that's more a case than for me what I usually do. And in those moments, you are able to rehearse what you want to say. And we do have a download if you need any help with breaking that down or breaking down that script in any way. But what I recommend a lot for my clients is, honestly, don't think too much about the exact wording. Think about the dot points. Just think about the basic generic, because as a professional, and especially as a professional in your field of interest or in your industry, you know what you're talking about. You have the experience to string your words together, and if you don't, you are rehearsing enough to be able to do so. So in those moments, you don't need to necessarily rely on the script and the dot points per se. You need to be able to essentially confidently be able to expel those at your mouth. So in those moments, I like to just break it down into those 4 sections of an ad. And again, this is 30 seconds long. There is going to be editing. There is going to be music. Do not worry if you stumble, if you fumble, you can just do it again. Because at the end of the day, when you finish your recording, even if you're just recording it on your phone or doing it yourself, you ultimately, at the end of the day, have a chance to edit that, record it and review it. Or if you're one of those people that does not believe in editing, and I am one of those people sometimes, the BFM is at a low point and I'm like, I cannot be bothered anymore. You do it. In those moments that I just don't feel like doing it anymore. So those moments like that is where we can rely on things like this, where we can just record what we need to say and just get it out there. Do not worry about being perfect, because there are so many situations where being perfect actually goes against you. And there are so many ads that I've seen with my clients that are incredibly effective, where they fumble a fair few words, they stuff up, and they're just so passionate about what they do that they just trip over their words because they're so excited to help the people that they want to help, to serve the people they want to serve. They're so excited and so passionate. And I am too. So for this example, we're going to use, again, 4 breakdown ads. So this is going to be for my Glow, Grow brand strategy. And this is going to sit in my live streams. So I already know what my audience is. I already know what I want them to do. I want them to go to the link in the description, the first link in the description, to go to my whatever I'm promoting at the time. And the idea being that this Glow to Go brand session is going to be a permanent state, permanent fixture within my products. So no matter when someone finds my content, they can constantly find this. And this ad is going to be generic enough where I can ask people to go to the first link in the description, and it's always going to tell people where to go. So even if I put this ad, this finished product in a podcast, it's going to send people to that first link in the description. It's going to tell them where to go. And in those moments where like I don't have control of the description, I will then update and change that ad accordingly. So say for example, in the Q3, looking at my whiteboard with all my details over there, in Q3, I'm going to be looking into podcast advertising, and specifically micro podcast advertising. So my target market, which of course I've spent a lot of time figuring out who my target market is and the type of podcasts that I listen to, I am going to sponsor these podcasts, and I'm going to be in the ad breaks of these podcasts, specifically for Australian listeners. I have no problem with international listeners, and a hello to all of my fans. I say that with all integrity. For everyone who is outside of Australia, most of my work, to be honest, I just kind of focus on the Australian locale, and then I can then expand overseas later when I can be bothered. But coming back to the ad and the ad copy, I've got a really basic brand breakdown, which to be honest, I ran through ChatGPT a couple of times, not to hit, again, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. I just needed something to be able to present to you to the live stream today, but also, to be perfectly honest, to have something just to get me going, just to get me thinking, because there's plenty of things that I've read this copy and this idea, and then I just realized I can do a better version of that, and I start writing my own. I need something to get started and get me going, and that is the same thing with a lot of people. So focusing on today's session, and again, using the clicker to break down between each of those ads, or my rehearsing or my versions of those ads, so then it's easier for me to edit. Of course, this entire live stream is going to be a hell of a thing for me to edit, but that is Eddie's problem. Eddie is me, but I'm going to call Eddie, my editor, is a separate person for now, until I find someone. In that meantime, focusing. So I'm going to be reading this a couple of times, just off the cuff, just with reading it, and I'm going to do my best to get up some momentum, but then I can start looking directly at the camera lens without having the need to kind of go like this, because it's kind of hard to see and you kind of get distracted because I might need to flip more things. You kind of get distracted as a viewer because all you're seeing is me going like this, where the eyes are moving rather rapidly trying to pick up the voices. So focusing in the last 5 minutes of this live stream. Stuck on your branding? Let's audit, adjust, and glow up your marketing in 1 hour. Get tailored guides, tools, and a roadmap to stand out. Unlock the potential discounts for future sessions with me, the Video Confidence Coach. Smashing your marketing mayhem with killer video strategies. So again, that breakdown was a fairly generic. I broke down, I didn't exactly talk about who would need this product, but I gave, again, this is an awareness. I'm giving a couple of goes at this because again, the idea is that I'm able to take what's in front of me and then meld it in both my editing, but then also in moments like this, where I just realized, hey, I'm not addressing who I talk to. So let's start that again. So instead of, I think with the first line, stuck on your branding, I'm gonna update that to say stuck on your personal branding, because that is my particular niche. I run with the personal branding crowd because that helps me stand out, but also it makes it quite clear of the people who need help on personal branding, not just marketing in general. Of course, I can help you with marketing in general, but usually, especially for small business owners, it helps to go through that personal branding lens. And I say, get tailored guides and tools and roadmap to stand out. Again, we're covering all those people who need, like, what exactly am I getting out of this? And what I'm going to do before that breakdown of the guides, tools, and roadmaps, we're going to talk about who this is for. So again, it's usually helpful to read it out loud and then be able to kind of figure out what the flow for you and the way that you speak. Because again, you are the one reading out the ad. It is incredibly useful to have your voice and your tone be the one that's both presented, be it in your marketing, but also in the way that you communicate with customers. I use words like smashing marketing mayhem because I am an intense person. I'm not a meek, demure person. I am bold. I am bright. I am Unboring Your Brand podcast. That is who I am. And for people who decide to try and squash me for that, best of luck to you. That's not going to happen. So focusing again on I'm very much all over the place this morning. My apologies. When it comes to, I'm going to read this out and then I'm going to see where I can fit in the type of person that I work with. So stuck on your personal branding, let's audit, adjust, and glow up your marketing in 1 hour. Now I could go with, for example, I work with women and non-binary superstars is usually my go-to, but then that brings it back to me. That brings it, say, I work with these people. When, say, for example, stuck on, are you a woman or non-binary superstar who's stuck on your personal branding? Let's audit, adjust, glow up your marketing in 1 hour. So let's read that again. Now that I've inputted who I work with and I've phrased the first question and I've padded that out a little bit more just to give a bit more context. Because again, this is the first time people are going to be seeing my face and hearing my voice. So in this moment, are you a woman or non-binary superstar who's stuck on your personal branding? Let's audit, adjust, and glow up your marketing in 1 hour. Get tailored guides, tools, and a roadmap to stand out. So of course that didn't work too well. But what I can tell in this little ad that I've created for myself is I haven't really mentioned who I am. So let's smash your marketing mayhem. Let's smash your marketing mayhem. Okay, so what I've done is I have adjusted that. So again, we're working on the fly and that is okay. So of course I had the bare bones basic done by ChatGPT, and of course I gave it so much information. That is what you need to do for these models to work. You need to give them so much information. And in this moment, I've been able to craft this ad to kind of where I want it to be. It's not perfect. It's not the be all and end all, but the idea is that you record multiple different things like I'm going to be doing today. Once I sit down in front of my cooler and just blow cold air on me for the next half hour. But let's read that again. Are you a woman or non-binary superstar who's stuck on your personal branding? Let's audit, adjust, and glow up your marketing in just 1 hour. Get tailored guides, tools, and a roadmap to stand out. Let's smash your marketing mayhem with killer video strategies. With me, Zoe, the video confidence coach. Now, you can see that I had different tones there. I emphasized different words and I had different pauses. Now, if I take that particular section out, I could probably realistically get 20, 25 seconds. And that's because I speak relatively fast. And for those people, and for those of us who speak a little bit slower, try and obviously do your best to work accordingly depending on how fast you speak. But that is why, so honestly, I just used 5 minutes before this live stream, put in my information, ChatGPT spat out a generic kind of ad copy, and I was able to adjust this to make this work for me. Now, of course, as I mentioned before, there's a prompt in there that's just a general awareness of me, Zoe, the video confidence coach. But in that moment, I want to probably get people to check out the link in the description. So let's smash your marketing mayhem with killer video strategies. That is my tagline. Leaving the link in the description. So again, we're thinking about our target market. We're thinking about the people that we want to work with because those people that we want to work with are not exactly we need to think about them and the work that, and the effort that it's going to take for them to reach out to us, to click that button. Where is it going to take them? What is it going to ask them to do? Usually I have a twofold system where I ask people to just, if you're in a rush, and I say that in the title, if you're in a rush, give me a name, give me an email, and I'll follow you up. And for those people who maybe have a bit of time and want to do a bit of research, they can be like, hi, here is all the stuff to research more about me, if you like. Or here is a basic form which breaks down what we need to do to work with each other. And then I then send them an email, a discovery form after that via email. If those people don't fill in that form, or they don't fill in the discovery form, then I have no interest in working with them. Not in a mean way, on a stress, but just because if you don't have time to spend 5 minutes filling in a form, giving me the information that I need to do my job before we meet each other, then that kind of feels like you are like a bit too stressed and a bit too overwhelmed. You are not a superstar who is kicking goals and who wants the framework to achieve more. You get what I'm saying? But again, we'll go through that again, and I'm probably going to read this and then just use the audio from this take. We're not going to worry too much about the visual aspect of it because I am sweating because it is warm in here and because it is summer. And the lights, even though they are LED and they are not very hot, I am hot. I'm sexy and sassy, as I was called the other day I think it was online. I think someone just called me, you're too sassy, like too sassy in the comments. I'm like, yeah, I take that as a compliment, sir. I digress. Are you a woman or non-binary superstar who's stuck on your personal branding? Let's audit, adjust, and glow up your marketing in just 1 hour. Get tailored guides, tools, and a roadmap to stand out. Let's smash your marketing mayhem with killer video strategies. With me, Zoe, the video confidence coach. Just use the first link in the description. There you go. And then I'm going to practice that a couple of times and be able to just go down barrel of the camera and start using this in my own marketing. So we have reached time. We have reached the hour. So yes, I think we're done. So we're going to finish off with the closing title. Thank you so much for joining me on this little rant that I had. Well, not little, it was a very long rant about recording ads. Hopefully I was able to give you some actual useful frameworks and tools to start generating and batch recording your own ads. Maybe on a day that you feel, honestly, you feel really nice, you feel really pretty, your makeup's done really well, even just record a couple of videos, maybe even work with an AI of some sort, just to give you some basic breakdowns, and then you can use that in the future because you felt good in the moment. We'll talk about in future live streams about breaking through that I don't like how I look feeling, because it's just a feeling and it's going to fleet. It's going to fleet. And it's not always going to stick with you. We can work through that through future live streams. But in the meantime, I'll leave you to it, and I'm going to sit in front of the cooler and just hopefully not melt off everything. Bye. Have a beautiful day.